Okay, I haven't done a Macross video in quite a while because I hadn't really paid attention to this, and only because somebody on mine's tagged me in a comment for somebody else's video. Anyway, this is not good news. So, this is called Macross Shooting Insight. It's some shooting game that they're making for like various places. I think it's PS4, PS5, Steam, and something else. I think Switch. Okay, let's get something. Well, let me go through this story and then I'll tell you what I think about it because I'm not happy with any of this, okay? So, the story takes place during Macross 7 era when Max is still captain of Battle 7. So, and they say it's after the events of 7. He's still trying to wrap his mind around some things. So my guess is that it's probably after Dynamite 7 at some point. Now, it's another time travel game. They get, like, everything around, like, the entire Battle 7 group gets, like, disappears from around him, and the Battle 7 is by itself somewhere in the future. And it, that's, and then from there they have to find all the singers to do something. They don't give you any real details about it, but that's basically what it is in a nutshell. What this is Macross 30 all over again. Except they're using Max as the main character, or like the kind of catalyst for the story is, whereas at least Macross 30 had original characters that were involved in what was going on with all the people getting on Ouroboros and stuff like that. This is what I don't get though. They're adding Hayate, they're adding Freya, and they're adding Mikumo to this. So and there's no Basara named yet, and Ichijo and Minmei are downloadable content. So you have to pay extra to be able to use characters from the original Macross. So already we're fucking done with that. You just fuck that off right there. I'm not gonna buy this game. Fuck this game. Okay. They're gonna have Myung and Sharon Apple there. There's gonna be Cheryl and Ranka, of course. And out of Firebomber, you're only getting Mirenu. So that's it. And then you're getting Freya and Mikumo. And you're not getting Makina or Kaname or Dana. So people who are for now, what we know is that anybody who's a fan of Dana, Makina, or Kaname, which there's a lot of fans of Dana for some reason, but they're not there. So and the thing that bothers me the most about this is that they're saying it's going far into the future. Well, how far are we going? Because are you going to jump into Macross 2 territory? Are you past Macross 2? What are you going to do? How are you going to fuck Macross 2 some more? Okay. And the fact that they're adding Ichijo and Minmei, who are technically missing during the era of Macross 7 and Frontier, because they're like not that far apart, right? I mean, it's like 14 years or something like that. So it just, this game, and the biggest problem is that basically every Macross game that's come out, basically all of them, like outside of like the PlayStation 2 Macross game, which is a beautiful game, don't get me wrong, but it's specifically limited to the original TV series. And as a special Valkyrie unlockable, you can get a VF4 Lightning in there, but that's basically it. There's no like adding to the story, it's just you playing through the story as an original character kind of thing. And you have your own original operator there, but it goes through the events of the story and stuff like that. If you wanted like something added to the story of like the movie, you play the Saturn / PlayStation 1 version of Do You Remember Love, and you'll get the opening movie is the thing that they reference in the movie about Earth getting bombarded right before they fold it out or whatever. So there is a little bit there, but like Macross 30 is very much part of the canon of Macross. I've talked about Macross 30. The events of Macross 30, the fact that the Kairos, the YF30, is the base for the VF31, especially the VF31 in the second Delta movie, because they're taking spare parts from a Kairos to modify the Siegfrieds in order to, use the crystals and shit. So, of course, there are connections to Macross 30 within even Delta, so, these games are considered canon, okay? What is going to happen now? Because you have to think, Max appearing in the second Delta movie. This is going to fuck with canon hard unless they come up with some way to, like, where they don't remember the events of the game or whatever. Just like, I never bothered to finish Macross 30. I haven't finished yet. I need to finish it, but I haven't yet. So I don't know how the game ends and how people, if they keep their memories or whatnot. I don't think they do, but there was if they keep their memories of this happening, well, Freya and Hayate and Mikomo would have met Max in this game before they met him as an old man in the second Delta movie, so they would have known who he was. And when Freya does that kind of surprise thing when Reina and Makina are talking about Max and his his exploits in the past, it's not going to make any sense anymore. It's going to break the canon of Macross. Because how would Freya be surprised seeing somebody who she's already met? And just this whole idea of this game is no. This is, I'm using a Knitter instance because I never use Twitter directly and I don't have a Twitter account after getting banned. But most of the comments are, where's Basara? Because without Basara, it's not Firebomb, right? You have to have Basara and Miren. You need all four, let's be honest. And I feel that Bihida and, Ray get completely screwed out of everything. I think they need to be involved as well, but, so, this comment here is like, where's Basara? This person is Sarameme. If they're using the 7 as the standard, then from the very beginning of 7, they're missing. So, them being here makes very little sense, right? Another comment of Basara here. Another comment here about, well, what about the other members outside of Freya Mikomo from Watakyure? There's, this person says it's awfully strange that there's no Basara here. Then this comment I love because it's great. Next wa 24時間戦う顔して待機してます. So this is a reference to Macross 2. It's saying Nyx is making a face of fighting for 24 hours while he's waiting for this to happen, kind of thing. Which is a reference to a comment in, what was it, episode 1 of Macross 2, where Nyx says, I could fight for 24 hours or something like that. So this person knows Macross 2. Where's Basara? There's Battle 7, but there's no Basara. It doesn't make it's out of the question that there's no Basara there. And also that there's only that this person's worried that there's only 2 members of Watakyure there. And here's the comment I had was, so why is Do You Remember Love extra content, like downloadable contents, right? and this is from a couple days ago, so it's the 20th of May here. These are all comments from the 18th. And then Aegis Folker, who is from VFX2. And then let's see. Then what about Basara again? It's everybody. Then so Saotome Aruto's here, but where's Basara? And what happened to Basara? You know, everybody. It's just, and then here, this person, Yowa Sanju remake ka. So basically, well, it's just a remake of 30, which is the exact thing that I thought. It's exactly the same fucking thing. It's Macross 30 without original characters at this point. Let's see. Why Gamuring? That's where Basara should be. And Mirenu's gonna get really mad. And Leon is the main character from Macross 30, so people are complaining about that. And then this time there'll be Miria and Mirage battle together. They're hoping for let's see, where'd that comment go? So this is a reference to a TV show that was on here in Japan back as far into the 70s called it started off as Hisatsu Shiokinin, and then it became Hisatsu Shigotonin, which I actually do like that TV show, by the way. It's actually quite, I kind of like it because it's really dark. But so they're saying that this person is saying, well, Max is basically Nakamura Mondo, who's the main character of Hisatsu Shigotonin. So basically, like, they're just going to keep reusing Max as much as they can. That's basically what they're saying. Because, you know, a lot of, like, even for me, what got me really excited, like, I thought using Max and Exidor in the second Delta movie was pandering to fans of the original. They were done well. I'm not going to argue. I thought they could have done more with you know, Exidor. Sadly, they didn't. But I think they should have. But, you know, it was pandering. It was complete pandering to old fans like me. Well, what are they doing with this game? Is they're doing this? They're doubling down on the pandering. Okay, like, I could get it with Macross 30 because they're trying to push new characters. They're trying to push the canon in between Frontier and Delta. So I can understand what's going on with that game and how some of the canon that is created through that has an impact on what happens at Delta. There can't be an impact because they either have to lose their memories, or there's something that has to, like, fix history, or it becomes something like Orgus. If people don't know what Super Dimensional Century Orgus is, look it up. I watched the entire series. I watched the sequel, which wasn't that good. It was okay, but like the ending of the TV series was actually really good. If you want to understand what I'm talking about with Orgus, you know, look it up for yourself. This is like it's just a whole bunch of, you know, like, it's just, you know, pandering to, you know, a bunch of people trying to push Macross to make some more money, even though they've already started working on the 45th anniversary project, which is going to come out in 2047. They've already hired, they did a staff hiring earlier this year. Like, they were wanting people to apply for jobs with Big West to prepare for the 45th anniversary stuff. But to me, it seems like this is just a cash grab, for one. It's over the top fan service for something we didn't need, and it's a rehash of an old story that's not going to push the canon in any decent direction. Okay, so the fact that, this is another thing I hate about modern video games as well, as all this extra downloadable content, blah blah blah. Make the game, finish it, and release it. Don't just half-ass it and then say, well, we're going to add this stuff later, you have to pay extra money to download it. Screw that. Do your jobs. We had games that were absolute classics, even with some bugs in them, although Dragon Quest VI has a fatal bug to it that's just absolutely horrible, why that game actually needed a remake, because the bug is actually, it could erase all, it would make the game unplayable at that point. With the original bug in the Super Famicom version. But, so I can understand that one needing a remake, right? Most other ones didn't really need remakes, especially 5 needing that second DS remake. That was absolutely unnecessary. But this is a remake of a game that's maybe 10 years old. Let's see. I have my Macross. Where is that case? I can't find it right now. But they're remaking a game from around 10 years ago, pandering to old fans like me, because it's Max, and I'm a massive Max fan. And I've talked about that multiple times, how much I love Max and Miria. And speaking of which, I had to get a scooter for work, and it's blue. So, of course, it had to be red or blue, and I found a blue one, so I got a helmet that's kind of bluish, but I'm going to buy another helmet in the future that's actually, really blue, and, that's my Max, my Max colors, right? But, I kind of want a red, because I like red more than blue, but anyway, that's just little nitpicks. I like Miria and Max both. So, but this just seems really, really bad. And the game is supposed to come out this year, and of course I'm going to be keeping an eye on it. But this is not good news. Okay, this just tells me that they're not caring about the IP anymore. They're just pandering to people, especially since Harmony Gold, their president just died recently, by the way. And Big West finally came to an agreement where they could, put, where they could have Robotech in Japan and, Macross the United States. So, for people who don't know Japanese and never going to be able to play Macross 30 or something like that, well, whatever, right? But for those of us I own Macross 30, I have a PlayStation 3 right here, the people who, they know the lore like I do. I mean, there's not a whole lot of people that are as deep into it as I have, as you've seen with my lore, my whole lore video where I translated everything for everybody. The entire timeline with differences between the two most recent stuff and everything. Spent a lot of time on that translation, by the way. So please watch that video if you see this video. This is not good news for Macross. I'm kind of tired of it, if you want to say it that way, because of how much they've been, going on and on about, they've been doing a lot more to promote series, but they haven't done enough to really promote 2 like they should be. And, of course I've got, some of the more recent merch that they've had I really wanted to get those keychains for Macross 7, but of course not, because in order to get all of them that I wanted, I would have to buy 2 full sets. It would have been like 20,000 yen, and I didn't have the money to do it. So, and they also did it with Macross 0, and I wanted the Macross 0 set too. It was just like, the fuck, right? So, because 0 doesn't get enough attention, and, you know, they released Roy Folker's VF0 not too long ago for the High Metal R series, and they're doing Bandai Premium Limited Edition. You have to order through there in order to get the VF1As for Kakizaki and Max from the TV series, which is stupid. And they each cost like 10,000 yen, so they're not like being sold to the public like a lot of the other stuff has been. So, you know, just no. I just see all this stuff is piling up, and I was like, you know, their Macross was always good because you didn't have all this pandering going on constantly. Did something nice for the anniversaries, you know, like for the 25th anniversary we got Macross Frontier. I don't like Macross Frontier that much, I've talked about that, but, you know, we got that. For the 20th anniversary, we had, you know, Macross 0. For the 15th anniversary, we had Dynamite 7. For the 10th anniversary, we had Macross 2. For, what was it, 30th anniversary was Delta? Yeah, no, it was like 35th anniversary was Delta. Something like that. I think it was like 35th anniversary was Delta. And of course, nobody likes the Delta TV series, but they'll like the second movie, because that's just how Delta works. Because Delta, the first movie is garbage. We all understand that. But thinking back on all this, there's been, probably because Kawamori's getting older, he's trying to, you know, finish things before he's gone, which is understandable, but, you know, it seems like there's been there's been way too much pushing of Macross lately compared to what it's been like in the past. And it's concerning to me that they don't have ideas to continue the story. So they're just like trying to ram out something as quickly as they can in order to like profit off of the second Delta movie, because the second Delta movie was really popular. So I'm very concerned about this, unless they fix this story and they do something original with it, because this whole time travel stuff they did once, it shouldn't be done with Max, for one. I mean, if they were going to do anything, it needed to be something different. Or it needs to be something that takes place after 2. We get to see the aftermath of what happened with 2. Like, you know, the other planets in the galaxy, finding out what happened on Earth, and how, you know, the Earth government was basically wiped out again. And how they had to rebuild Earth again, how they're trying to you know, help out the rebuilding of Earth or whatever, something like that, right? They could do something like that, and they don't. And I expect that the 45th anniversary TV show is going to be something along those lines. It's going to still take place between Delta and 2, and it's going to kind of involve the next, you know, it's going to try to finish that arc off in some way. I sure as hell hope not, because the second Delta movie basically put a nice little cut right there, right? You know, this is very concerning to me. This whole thing of what is happening with Macross right now. And this game, my guess is they're going to try to make it part of the canon universe. So how they're going to fix that, because they did it with 30. I have no idea how it's going to work, but this needs to be some kind of, you know, like what if scenario, and not some, you know, like canon breaking kind of game. Otherwise, it's just gonna ruin everything, and it would just have to be ignored because there's no other. Like people say, like the canon until now is broken 2 out of the canon, which is bullshit because I've already proven that it hasn't. And I've shown how that there's all these connections between more recent stuff in 2 now. Especially the second Delta movie did a lot to connect the 2 in subtle ways. Well, not just second Delta movie, but just Delta in general, right? Because it's only 13 years, 23 years before 2. So, it's just a matter of it doesn't seem like there's a proper plan in place for what's going forward with Macross. And as much as, if you watch, like I've mentioned this before, if you watch the Japanese language, live streams that they do of Macross ga Tomaranai or something like that, Suzuki Minori pushes 2 really hard, and then the guy from Big West who's on there, he's always trying to downplay 2 as much as he can. He ignores openly stating something about 2, even though, Suzuki Minori, the voice actress for Freya, is very, very vocal about her love of Macross 2, which makes me extremely happy. I've mentioned that before. But it says, like, they may be trying to push 2 out somehow, and this is their way of doing it. And that would piss me off. I would write off Macross right away. I'd write off anything after the second Delta movie at that point. I literally would. I'd say, okay, I'm done. I'm just going to sit and watch, the original plus 7, Frontier, 2, maybe Delta, maybe, well, second Delta movie maybe, but not the TV. Ugh. But, that's, that's where I'm at if they try to do that with 2. They just no. But see, the thing is, they advertise to it all of their events that they have, like little they have events in Tokyo or Osaka, or like they had that Macross museum thing that they were doing in Kobe or whatever, and they plastered 2 posters there and they talked about 2 there. I know that they also had like all the different toys that they've made over the years, like the Yamato stuff and whatever, and they had the stuff from 2 there. So, I don't know, but, this is very concerning news to me, and I'm very much against this game. It'll have to prove me wrong, because everything I see here is warning flags everywhere. So, anyway, it's been my first Macross video in a long time, because I haven't had much to talk about, because, it turned out that the second high grade that they're releasing after the YF-19 is actually the Durandal, even though they actually put a actual screen, which I downloaded the actual Macross ga Tomaranai for that one, that actually said the next one was going to be a VF2SS from Macross 2, and they didn't. So, who knows what's going on at this point. So, anyway, I keep an eye out on my other media, on my other sites, because that's where I post most of my content. Although, because of work and my work currently, I am very tired usually, so I don't spend a lot of time, because I'm outdoors all the time and I'm out in the heat and shit. I don't spend a lot of time. I don't have a lot of extra time now to make as many videos as I was doing before. So this is my first Macross video in a while, but I hope that people enjoy this. If you want to, if you want specific things out of me, I'll try to make time. I'm still, once I get a little more money, I'm gonna be trying to get the This Is Animation Macross special that has the whole stuff on the Zentradi language. I haven't gotten it yet. I haven't had the money to. that's on my bucket list of things to do. And then I'm gonna do a language thing with Zentradi with the best I can. But there's a whole lot of things on my list right now that I just haven't gotten around to because of work and stuff. So anyway, that'll be all for this video. And I'm just saying this because it helps with the algorithm. I'm just gonna do this one time, okay? Like and subscribe. I'll never say that ever again. I promise. Never again. Okay, so that'll be all for this one. See you next time.